I'm going to tell y'all, this is Two Player Sports Podcast brought to you by The Culture, brought to you by SNS Courtside. This dude, Mike the Expert, is crazy. He loved to always pause, talk about how another grown man look. Mike, is there something you want to confess to the people? Because you got to comment about how another man look all the time.
Hey, if you ugly, you ugly. You know what I'm saying? Man, woman.
Whether it's me, Matt, Wack 100, everybody. You got to comment about all these men. Maybe you need to do, I know we on here to talk about NBA free agency, but maybe you do your top 5 ugly men. Pause. That might be what you need to do. Until then, let's get into this, man, because we know NBA free agency is going down. A lot of people talk about winners and losers, and me and Expert don't always agree. So we go tell you who we agree on and kind of what we got as the winners or losers. And some are pretty obvious. Now let's start with your team, the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers have been bought out, no longer owned by the Buss family. And first off, we got to give a winner to the Buss family because they got a serious bag for selling that team. $10 billion. The most actually any sports team in the world has ever been sold for. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Jerry Buss, although he's passed on and he's in heaven. That was an amazing investment to buy that team and then end up putting Jeannie in this position and Jim in this position.
Because they bought that team for less than $1 billion.
$36 million.
They bought that, $36 million.
And that's including the Kings, including a soccer team, and including the Forum. So if you're just saying the Lakers by itself is probably, you might be talking about back then maybe 10 million by that evaluation.
And they sold it for $10 billion. And then you got to think about Jeannie Buss. It's not like she bought the team. She was young. So
her dad.
So I mean, it's a 1,000%, for her. So that worked out.
Man, if y'all haven't seen it, you got to watch Winning Time on HBO because the beginning episode showing him buying that team is even better now they sold it, and you see everything he went through and the assets he liquidated to pull that move off. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Have you seen Winning Time?
I watched a little bit of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I watched some of it.
Did you like it? I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, what I watched so far was pretty good or whatever, but, I have to go back. It's been a while since I, watched it, so if I go again, I'm going to have to start over and kind of.
Your main man Magic didn't like it because he didn't like how he was portrayed. He didn't like that. And then Jerry West didn't like how angry he came off.
Hey, I mean, if people see you that way, if that's how they saw you, then that's how you're gonna be represented on the thing.
Well, let's talk about seeing somebody a certain way. LeBron James and the Lakers, right? A lot of people saying they winners, some people saying they losers. ESPN has them as a loser. I have them as an incomplete, man. You got DeAndre Ayton. I like the move. You needed a center, but it's not the right center that fits what you want to do. You need a rim runner. And DeAndre Ayton is not that. He's a guy that wants to step out and shoot the three. He wants to put the ball on the floor, and he wants to shoot at the top. So I'm not sure how that's going to work because that's not what he wants to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like it. I like getting DeAndre Ayton. I like he's 15. I mean, he gets you 15 and 10 every game. 10 rebounds. I mean, that's what they need. They need somebody down there that can rebound. He gets you 15 points. The 15 points, that's basically all they're really going to need from him. Probably not even that. Because they got Luka, they got LeBron, they got Reeves, they got people that can do different things.
Wait a minute, you said they got LeBron. How long did they have LeBron?
Well, they got him for this season. I mean, they only got Ayton for 2 seasons.
I don't know, man. In the words of Dr. King, how long? Not long. I don't know, man. It seems like Bron gonna be gone.
Bron's not going anywhere, even if he wants to. I mean, Bron is making $56 million. Nobody's giving up their team for LeBron James. It's just not happening. So now, if the Knicks,
the word on the street, the Knicks said they'll do a cat for LeBron straight up, and the money works.
But that's
and the
what
Knicks
I'm
are
saying.
not in the second apron either.
But here's the thing. If the Knicks are willing to do that, if they're willing to give up cat for LeBron, and if that works, then that actually helps my Lakers even more because now we have cat for the future along with Luka. Man, that'd be building a championship team like crazy. So I would do that trade in a heartbeat if they're going to do that.
Would you know? You don't want OG Anunoby too? Because if I'm you, I want Mikal Bridges in the deal. But I don't know. I feel like Cat is not a good fit for Luka. They both 2 slow players that don't play defense.
Look.
And Cat's not a rim runner. Luka need a rim runner.
Here's the thing. LeBron, we're going to lose him eventually anyways. If not if he plays this season with us, he might have one more season with us. LeBron is not here for the future. I would definitely trade LeBron for Cat in a heartbeat without thinking twice. So most definitely.
And you gonna walk your guys you gonna walk LeBron to LAX, huh?
But yeah, most definitely. He doesn't have to buy his ticket. I'll buy the ticket for him. He's gone. Don't get me wrong. I love LeBron. He does a lot for the
bag fee.
Yeah, LeBron does a lot for our team. But
wow, a Lakers fan actually admitting that LeBron does a lot for him and they like him and he helped you win a championship. Most Laker fans do not embrace LeBron.
No, they know that LeBron helped us win a championship, just like AD helped us win the championship. I mean, AD went crazy in the playoffs. I mean, LeBron was one of the main guys. He was the main guy, him and AD. So, I mean, you have to acknowledge that. But, I mean, at this point, would I trade LeBron for Cat? Yes. 10 years ago, would I trade LeBron for Cat? No. Or I mean, 8 years ago, whatever.
Shoot, 5 years ago.
Would I trade him 5 years ago?
5 years ago, he's playing with the Cavs, playing against the Warriors. That's you would not trade him for Cat. Come on, cut it out, yo.
I don't know. No, 5 years ago, how long has he been with the Lakers now?
Actually, no, 5 years ago, he was just the beginning of his tenure as a Laker. He's been there 8 years.
He wasn't with the Cavs 5 years ago.
Yeah, he's playing with Lonzo Ball and Kuzma and those guys at that point.
Yeah, so at that point, maybe
did it 5 years ago. Yeah,
not at that time. But then again, I don't know. Well, no, at that time, no, because we didn't have Luka at that time and all.
Exactly.
That,
how you wouldn't?
Well, I don't know because if I was able to make that trade and get AD and I had AD and Cat, I might do that.
You would do it because the NBA rigs the draft and that you're gonna get a number one pick. That's why you would do it.
Hey, maybe I'm thinking I might do it. It'd be like my Twin Towers have AD and Cat. Just like they had Duncan and David Robinson,
if you do it now, you're gonna have AD and Aiden, and that don't work. Somebody got to go.
I'm not gonna have AD. I'm gonna have Cat.
Excuse me. You're gonna have Cat and Aiden. Yeah, that doesn't work. It doesn't matter. I would trade LeBron for him. Now figure it out.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. And the reason why I can't say that the Lakers did good this offseason because they lost Dorian Finney-Smith, and he was a defensive player. And we already lack in defense. Now we just got rid of another defensive player. So I think that's really going to hurt us. And right now, as the team is constructed, we're not a championship team. All these teams are loading up on defenders. Our team is not. We still have that same offensive team. We don't have the defenders.
On two-way players, 3-and-D guys that can play on both ends of the floor. On top of all that, I mean, you brought back your favorite center, Jackson Hayes. I don't know why you brought him back because JJ don't want to play him. I don't understand what are we doing here. Why would you bring the guy back if JJ don't want to play him?
Yeah, well, I like Jackson Hayes actually.
I do too.
I know JJ doesn't like him, but here's the thing. Jackson Hayes, he doesn't have to be a starter. He can come off the bench, only play a few, play some minutes. I mean, I like him. He catches that lob. I think he's a real good player, but I don't know. He doesn't have to play a lot of minutes with Aiden out there. So, well,
there's some interesting questions going on in LA. Like I said, this whole weekend, LeBron James been hanging out in the land. My guy commented on the Cavs old beat reporter, highline reporter, excuse me. I believe her name is Allie LaForce. Commented on her shirt. She has on a LeBron James jersey. Her boyfriend has a LeBron James Cavs jersey on. He was like, "You wearing the right jersey." He has a hat on that says "Welcome Home." He's golfing in the land. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and the Cavs are already on record saying if he's a buyout player, they're all in. There's also talk I'm hearing they willing to move. Of course, but they talking about they willing to move DG and Jared Allen for him, or DG and DeAndre Ayton. If it's DG and DeAndre Ayton, I'm driving them to Hopkins Airport right now.
You said DG and DeAndre Ayton. How are they going to move?
Those are the two names.
We already got Aiden.
I'm sorry, DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, I don't think – I mean, the Cavs are willing to do that, and they should be willing to do that. But the Lakers, I don't think are going to take those two for them.
Yeah.
I think the best bet is going to be the Knicks. If the Knicks are willing to move Cat, then, if they're willing to get fleeced like that, then we'll do that.
This is my thing, though, and I kind of look at it from this angle. I think the Aiden thing blew any trade with Jared Allen in there because, they play the same position. Now, Jared Allen is a center you need. He's a rim runner. He's exactly what you're looking for. And he plays defense and a better defender than Aiden. Yeah. But I think if you're LeBron and you really want to get up out of there, you shouldn't have signed that 10-year. I know you want that $50 million.
But
I get it, but you shouldn't have signed a 10-year. Now, what we also hearing is that Jeannie is willing to possibly get this man a buyout, which is wild. because kind of how they handle Kobe. You know, they gave Kobe that huge bag at the end because they loved him out of respect. I don't know, man. This is getting interesting.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think LeBron's going to still be with the Lakers at least this season. And then after that, you know, he'll see what he wants to do. Either he'll retire or might go to another team. But I think this season, him and his son is going to be there.
I guess we'll find out. Talking about who's not going to be there in the finals, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, the Boston Celtics will not be there in the finals. We know Jason Tatum is dealing with a serious injury. He's the third player to get an Achilles. Well, he was the second player to get an Achilles injury in the playoffs. We had him, Dame, and my guy Halliburton. Now they've jettisoned Porzingis. They've jettisoned Al Horford. You've got Drew Holiday up out of there. They had to shed all these guys because of the third apron, which is real. Yeah. The new owner don't want to pay that money.
Exactly.
Man, I see the Celtics dropping like a rock, man. They dropping it like it's hot, like Snoop Dogg said, you know what I'm saying, with Pharrell. That's what I see. I see them basically being, at best, a play-in team next year. What do you see?
Well, I think I'm a little different with the Celtics. I think the Celtics have done a wonderful job, being that they have to get rid of players because of that third apron and all that. I think they've done a great job. Think about it. They had Drew Holiday, I think he's like 35 years old. Had three more years left on his contract, over $100 million. They were able to shed that contract without giving up any draft picks, any first-round draft picks, and still get Anthony Simons in return.
I like that.
Yeah, who's a 19.5 assist player a game. I mean, they did real good with that. They got rid of Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis was already injury prone anyways. He was rarely there. Yeah, exactly. He was rarely there with the team. You know, hopefully he's good next season for the Hawks. But I think the Celtics actually did a real good job. Now, with Jason Tatum out, you know, they're probably not going to be a championship team next season. But when Jason Tatum comes back with the team the way it is right now, he's coming back to a team that can still compete. So I kind of like what the Celtics
I don't see it, man. I don't see it because you lost Sam Hauser off the bench. You lost Al Horford, an important role player for you.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday is your number one defender. He's not, Derek White is okay, but he's not the defender that Holiday is. Yeah. I think you took some major losses, man. And Porzingis, when healthy, was a difference maker in the squad. And like I said, missing all these pieces and these other teams in the East being healthy, which you're going to get to, I think puts them in the play-in. I'm just being honest, man. I think you're going to the play-in.
That's what I said. For next season, they might be in the play-in. But when Tatum comes back, when he's extra healthy after this season, you know, he's going to have a team that still can do something out there and still could be a contender. And they can just add a couple pieces because, I mean, the pieces they lost are replaceable. And Drew Holiday is on the decline anyways. He's 35. He's on the decline. He's not the player that he used to be. And they picked up Anthony Simons, and they might even package him up later on. You know, I think Anthony Simons might be on a one-year deal right now.
He's on expiring deal.
And they might even package him up and see what they can get for him. But right now, he's a good player to have on your team, a good young player. You went from a 35-year-old to a 20-something.
This is why I say this, though, because the Celtics are dealing with that second apron. You're still in the second apron even after shedding all these guys. And I think they're going to have to make a business decision. Is it going to be Tatum? Is it going to be Brown? And I think this season is going to let you know what is Jaylen Brown by himself. And then you still got to see what is Jason Tatum after this injury recovery. So I can't say they're going to be ready to compete right away. For all we know, this is the end of it. And this is what blows up the team.
Yeah, but I think this helps the Celtics out a lot. They get to see what they got. They get to see what they have. I think the Celtics are going to be all right. You weren't going to be able to keep all these teams have to give up players, because of how this collective bargaining agreement is.
Right.
And I think they know next season they're not going to be the team that they are right now because their best player is gone. So, but being able to still have some solid players on your team, but when you get your guy back, you're not building from the beginning. You're starting somewhere, and you can just add a few more players, and you're right back there. So, you know, we'll see.
We'll see, man.
See what happens. Yeah.
Well, with that second apron too, that really hampers what you can do to add players. So we'll see what they do because they're in a tough spot because they can basically only offer guys minimum contracts. You know, they can't aggregate salaries and do all this other, you know, creative things. They can't really get 3-team trades going. So they can't get no buyout guys. So we're going to see what's going on. Talking about who's go ahead.
Wait, real quick, before you go on, I hear Horford might be going on to Golden State.
I like that.
Yeah, they need a big man too. He might be going on there.
He don't clog the paint. He shoots.
He shoots the three, all that. Yeah.
I actually like that. That'd
be a good pickup.
We're gonna keep an eye on that. Talk about keeping an eye on it. The Houston Rockets, they are ready to take off and launch. Ahmed Thompson has announced that he's here. Now they get to keep Jabari Smith, which I think was amazing. Made a trade where they fleeced the Suns for Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And, you still have the core of your team in there. You still have Şengün, who's proved he's a real goon on the court. I love the way Şengün plays. He plays like an old traditional tough center. I love it.
Yeah.
And then you still bringing in, I can't think of his name right now, my guy that played for the Raptors, the point guard.
VanVleet.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet. You still bring him back. So you got Ahmed Thompson, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, Şengün, and you still bring back VanVleet, man. I think they are ready to compete in the West, and it's about to get interesting.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely ready to compete. I mean, they still got Easton on their team, but look at this. They still have their number 3 pick, Reed Shepherd, who didn't even get a lot of minutes last season.
Right.
They just didn't have minutes for him. They got rid of Cam Whitmore, because there wasn't a lot of minutes for Cam Whitmore, but getting rid of him. Yeah, getting rid of him and getting rid of Jalen Green, they might have a little more minutes for Reed Shepherd now. So they got a squad. And the biggest thing with Kevin Durant is they got what they needed. They were able to keep their defense together and then get what they needed. Have somebody in the half court when their offense breaks down can actually take over and do his thing and put some points on the board. So yeah, that team,
plus he could teach Ahmed Thompson and Jabari Smith some things about being closers and playing, winning basketball. I know he hasn't been winning basketball a little while, but he knows something about that, playing for OKC and playing for the Warriors. He knows something about playing for something. So he could teach them that. I think that's valuable to have that vet. That's what they were missing. I know VanVleet's a vet, but you bring in a guy that is a bona fide scorer. That's what he do.
Yeah, exactly.
He get you 25 in his sleep.
Exactly. But here's the big thing with it. I know we said all that, but here is the big thing. The Rockets still have a lot of assets, and they still have draft picks. They still have assets. And if Milwaukee winds up ever having to get rid of the Greek Freak, which I think eventually is going to happen because they're going to see that they're not going anywhere, especially with all the desperate moves that they made, but we'll get to that later on. I think if the Greek Freak goes anywhere, the Houston Rockets are going to be one of the only teams that can afford to get them. They got the players, they got the assets. I mean, they're setting themselves up. They got a great team, and they can afford to get a player like him.
I'll be honest, dog. People may not agree with me. I would flip Kevin Durant for a Greek Freak. Honestly, I would.
Yeah. Oh,
You're getting a younger guy. Now he's a different type of scorer, but you're getting a younger guy, a better defender, with no major injuries. That's what I would do. I was saying, Kevin Durant, hey, man, it's been nice knowing you, but you on your way to Milwaukee. Go get yourself a beer and some cheese.
But
I'll get him up out of
there. But they got enough assets. If Greek Freak demands a trade, they got enough assets to really keep Durant and get the Greek Freak. I mean, they have to give up some good stuff, but they can keep Thompson. They can keep Durant. They can keep the Greek Freak and then give up a lot of draft picks and stuff like that. They got a lot of assets,
You got to keep Şengün, though. You got to try to keep Şengün. Şengün, you got to try to keep. I love the way he plays.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, too? When you talk about the Rockets.
Yeah.
They've now had James, the whole OKC, all three of them that were stars. They all three been in Rockets now. All three of them. That's wild. I never noticed that. KD, Westbrook, and James Harden have all been Houston Rockets now. And two of them at the same time. That's wild. Yeah. That's wild, bro.
And we're going to see if they can get a championship there. James Harden and Russell weren't able to do it.
Well, you talked about trading for the Greek Freak. One of the things I look at right here is the Bucks. The Bucks have to be a loser. I love what they did in Miles Turner. Great move. You upgraded. Brook Lopez is old. They both slow. Miles is a little faster because he's younger. And they both do the same thing. They block shots, they shoot threes, right? And they shoot the mid-range. But at the same time, they need so much more. And I did not like the move of buying out Dame, because Dame is injured, but I thought it was a low-class move. You kicking a guy when he's down and buying him. I've never seen a team do that with a superstar when they're hurt. I've never seen that happen. And if you want to participate in free agency, that's not the way to get people to come to your squad, because they know if they get hurt, you're gonna get them up out of there.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. I don't like it either. I don't like a lot of stuff that the Bucks did, right? Leading up to this.
Kuzma trade. You hated that.
Yeah, I hate the Kuzma trade, but what I'm talking about is even is even different. I hated a lot of stuff, getting rid of Drew Holiday, first of all, I think, and picking up Damian Lillard. I think that was a desperation move to make Giannis happy. That right there was bad. And then the Damian Lillard thing that they did right now to get Miles Turner, I think that was really to keep Giannis happy. Miles Turner, don't get me wrong, he's a decent big man, but you got to remember, and I know we got a lot of recency bias because he was in the finals and stuff, but before then, Miles Turner was a big man that was on the block that they were trying to trade, that they were putting on there trying to see what they can get for him. And then he had an okay playoffs, and now everybody's like, oh, Miles Turner. But Miles Turner is not, he's a little bit better than Brook Lopez. It's not like.
So you saying he's not a needle mover? He don't move the needle.
Exactly. He's not a needle mover. He's good to have on your team, but he's not going to be that person that just takes the Bucks over, So really, I think what they should have did at this point, because now they're starting off, they got to pay Damian Lillard $22.5 million a season for
to get 5 up out of there, to go home.
Yeah, to do nothing. So they're already starting out in the hole, paying him $22.5 million. I mean, just having to do that. I don't think it was worth it for Miles Turner. What they should have did was just traded Giannis and start over. They would have got a lot of stuff for Giannis, and then they should have just started over and built their team from there. I think this is
because a lot of people didn't like the Middleton trade. I mean, I'm not saying Middleton's on Washington going off, but you got a guy that came in a playoff game in Kuzma that was the first guy in the history of the NBA to have a 0 stat line and play over 20 minutes. That's never happened before.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That's nasty work.
Yeah, Kuzma shouldn't be your starter. I mean, look at this, Kev. Their projected starting lineup is Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner. Don't get me wrong. They have some decent players in there, but you got to think, you had Drew Holiday, you had Damian Lillard, you had people in there, you had Chris Middleton, you had people in there that can really play and produce. I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I'm still asleep, man. I haven't woke up from my nap yet. That's not enough to get me to wake up and go to a Bucks game. Still asleep.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. You better bring back my guy, Bobby Portis, who's a real goon. I love Bobby Portis. He's gooned up out here, and he play like it. He don't back down. He's an old school Charles Oakley type guy, and I like the way he plays. Shout out to Bobby Portis.
Yeah, well, they did re-sign Bobby Portis. They re-signed Bobby Portis. They re-signed Taurean Prince along with Kevin Porter Jr. and Gary Trent Jr. So they're all there.
Taurean Prince is not a needle mover. Yo, you remember Gary Trent Sr.? Played for the Bucks.
Yeah, for the Bucks. Yeah, I remember him.
Not a needle mover either, but he can shoot though. His son can really shoot now. His son can, and that's another thing too. His son cost you a playoff game, literally cost you a playoff game, turn the ball over, and multiple times at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. I do remember that, but I'm not sure what's going on with Milwaukee. Yeah, need some more effort. But I do know things are going on in the ATL. The Highlight Factory might be back. We might be back to the Highlight Factory. It's about to be hot in the streets of ATL. Trae Young gonna be ice cold doing his thing. If these boys can stay healthy, the Hawks are a top 3 team in the East. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. If they can stay healthy, the Hawks are a top 3 team, and it's gonna be box office. I cannot wait because you got the perfect center for Trae. Even better than what he had Clint Capella, because Porzingis can pick and drive. He can pick and pop. Mm-hmm. He can put the ball on the floor. He takes so much pressure off your offense. You got Jalen Johnson. If he's healthy, you can see he gets busy. He has a complete game. I love it, man. I love what they are doing. Draft picks, very solid. Ricochet, I think, is about to have another good season. Had a good rookie season. I think he's going to build on that. Ricochet is going to be a good player in this league, man. A lot of people don't see that because the Hawks not on TV. And then Dyson Daniels from the defensive end, mixed with Porzingis, you've totally hidden all of Trae's flaws, man. They're going to be box office. And Trae's a 30-10 guy. And you gave him a center that's a 20-point, double-double guy. And that's an upgrade from Clint Capella. Clint Capella went back to Houston, which I think is a good move for them.
Yeah.
But, man, the Hawks are looking like they're in real good shape. This got to be the best team, even better than one with the Eastern Conference Finals where they went with John Collins, Red Velvet, and all those guys and went to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a better squad than that squad.
Yeah.
So, and they had to do this because I feel like they were getting close to losing Trae and Trae demand a trade. And the DeJounte thing was a disaster. And then here's the thing. You got back a draft pick that you lost in the DeJounte trade. They just pulled all the right buttons, man. And they fleeced New Orleans in the draft for a player that they weren't even interested in, man. They just pressed all the right buttons. They probably had the best offseason of anybody. I mean, It's probably them and the Rockets right there, 1 and 2, and maybe 1A and 1B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, man. The Hawks did a wonderful job. And what they did is Trae Young's weaknesses, they sewed up. Like they have defense all around him. So, I mean, Trae Young can go out and do his thing, and he has defenders all around him. I mean, getting Kristaps Porzingis on there, Alexander Walker. And think about this. Ricochet, as good as he is, he may not even be a starter next season. You may have Ricochet coming off your bench. Right. When you think about it, your projected starting lineup is probably Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Porzingis, and then their center, I can't really pronounce his name good. Okongwu. Yeah, I can't really pronounce, I'm bad with names sometimes, but that your starting lineup could be that, and then Ricochet coming off the bench. So you really, like, the Hawks really can surprise some people. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't get me wrong. This is all new to them, and they probably need a season or two to get together. But I wouldn't be surprised, depending on what happens in the playoffs, if they slide into the finals. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Wouldn't either, dog. And that's not even talking about Luke Kennard that you brought over. That's a bona fide 3-point shooter. That's a knockdown bullseye guy. That's not even counting him.
Yep.
They coming with weapons, bro.
Yeah. I know who's gonna be happy.
We ain't gonna say that name. We're gonna move on to the next team. We ain't gonna say that name. But shout out, bro. We ain't gonna, We appreciate the comments and the engagement.
Yeah, most definitely.
Talk about who else is a winner. The Denver Nuggets, they didn't really have a free agency move, but they made a big trade, bringing in Cam Johnson from Michael Porter Jr. I think is a good gamble, because here's the thing. Michael Porter Jr. is hurt a lot. Cam Johnson's hurt a lot. So those two things cancel each other out. But when healthy, Cam Johnson has already proved he can play with other players, a la playing with the guys he played with in Phoenix, going to the finals with CP3, Aiden, and all that group there, and Booker. He proved what he can do. He's a solid 18-point scorer. He's the best corner 3-point shooter in the whole entire NBA. He has the highest percentage from the corner 3, which is perfect for the Nuggets, because guess what? Where did the Joker love to throw the ball to? The corner.
Yeah.
He get off on that. He be hitting them corner passes left and right, and I think it's the perfect compliment. So, and you didn't really need a slasher. That's really what DeJounte Murray's job is. So I love it. I love it. And Porter wasn't fitting in with coaching either. From this new coach and from Mike Malone, he just wasn't fitting in. And I think Porter needs a fresh start. I didn't never like the fit anyway when he was drafted there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You say the Hawks and the Rockets did better than just about anybody in this offseason. I put Denver up there with them. Denver did great. And this is why. First of all, you had Michael Porter Jr. You traded him for Cam Johnson. Michael Porter Jr. was basically your third best player on your team. Wasn't a star. 100%. Wasn't a star and was making over $200 million. By getting Cam Johnson, you shed about $18 million right there. Cam Johnson is better off the dribble. He's a similar shooter to Michael Porter Jr., and he's a much better defender. Yeah. And he's a much better defender, a much better defender than Michael Porter Jr. So, I mean, you have all that, then you add on Bruce Brown, possibly Jonas Valanciunas. We'll see what happens with that. That hasn't went all the way through yet. And then also Tim Hardaway Jr. on that team. They sold up their bench. They added more defense, which they really needed. So I think they did a great job, and they put themselves in a place to where they can actually get back to the finals again. They did all this without compromising their starting lineup. So I think Denver is right there with the Hawks and with the Rockets.
Bruce Brown, a favorite that helped you in the finals. Now, we don't know. He's been gone for a little while, almost 2 years. We don't know, if he's sad now from hanging out in Canada and not playing with the Rockets, playing with the Raptors, not playing for anything. We don't know that, so we got to see what that is. But I love the Tim Hardaway Jr. pick. I've been telling y'all since Tim Hardaway Jr. played for the Hawks way back when. He is a really good player and a solid player. I have never understood why people don't give this guy a real opportunity, because he reminds me of a Karis LeVert. This is the perfect replacement for KCP. Yeah. He can shoot. He defends. He's good in your locker room. He was great in the Hawks locker room. He's a good player for the Mavs. Him and Luka got busy. He was a good player in the Pistons. And I don't know why he can't stick, but I think he may have found a home permanently now. And I think it's the perfect home for him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think with this team, if they had this team, they might have beat the I just forgot the name of the team.
The Thunder.
The Thunder, yeah. I'm going crazy, man. I think they might have beat the Thunder.
Sorry, you always crazy.
But I think they might. I mean, they took, without these defenders, they took the Thunder to 7 games, and I think they would have beat the Thunder. Yeah, and I think they would have beat the Thunder if they had this team together. So next season, Denver might be coming out of the West.
This would have helped them overcome the Gordon injury at the end too, because you could have had still more balanced offense and scoring. You could have slacked Cam to the 4, then you put Tim Hardaway in the starting lineup, and now you kind of can at least recover. So I agree with you 100%. With everybody healthy, Denver gonna be tough to beat, bro.
Yeah, this gonna be real tough.
It might be a long winter in the NBA. We'll see, man. But talking about somebody else who's gonna be a tough out now is the Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
I love what they did, the Desmond Bane trade. Not a free agency move, but a really good move and a good way to replace, because KCP, it just didn't fit. I love KCP, Atlanta guy, Georgia guy. It just didn't fit. It did not fit with him, and he didn't have the season that you wanted him to have in Orlando. I do like Cole Anthony, but I don't think that was a make or break move for them, right? And I think Cole Anthony needs a new opportunity somewhere he's going to get more minutes. He don't get consistent minutes in Orlando. And then you bring in Desmond Bane. I mean, Desmond Bane remind me of like a Mitch Richmond, just a solid dude that you look up and he got 25 points, 22 points. You don't even know he got it. Or even Michael Redd or like a Middleton in his prime. He reminds me of one of them guys, that ancillary guy that you didn't even realize you need that's going to get busy for you. And I think the Magic needs scoring, they're going to give it to him. Now, what I do have a question, can you bring back the other Wagner brother, right? So you got one Wagner there. The other one's out here in free agency. You need to bring it back in. That's my only question.
Yeah, well, with Orlando, I think they're a good team, and they can be one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the East. I think Desmond Bane is going to add a lot to that team. They were able to add him without giving up a lot of their defense ability. They got a lot of defense on that team. They didn't have to give that up to get them. I do think that they did give up a lot. I mean, 4 first-round draft picks.
First-round picks.
Yeah, 4 first-round picks, a pick swap.
Well, they had to basically give up. Really the going price was 2 for Desmond Bane, but they had to give up 2 more to get out of KCP's contract because he's owed so much more money.
Got you. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just they had to give up a lot. So what they have, they're going to have to really they got to know that this is really going to work, because they kind of gave up their future as far as getting anybody else to bring in to make things work. But I do think with the team that they have, that Orlando is probably a top 3 or 4 team in the East right now. So
well coached too. They play defense.
Yeah, well coached. They play real good defense. Yeah.
They make it hard for the score.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, that's what they're looking for now, is defense. After watching the Thunder, I mean, if you think about it, the Orlando Magic, defense. Houston Rockets, defense. The Thunder, defense. You look at Denver, they weren't a good defense.
Went healthy. Healthy defense.
Yeah, the Denver wasn't a real good defensive team. They got rid of Michael Porter Jr., got defensive players. Everybody's trying to sew up their defense. So we'll see.
Well, talking about not sewing up defense and just kind of getting out of, hell, if you will, because they were in cap hell, the Suns. The Suns are a huge loser. They were in cap hell. You still have no way to get rid of Bradley Beal. I don't know what the Suns are doing, because the Suns seem to be one of these teams that want to collect all the shooting guards and small forwards in the league. And you need more players besides shooting guards and small forwards. They got rid of Yusuf Nurkic. I guess, he isn't the player he used to be. But you're going to need a center at some point. So I don't know what the Suns are doing. You kind of had to get rid of Kevin Durant because you were boneheaded and trying to create a big 3 when we all knew that would not work. You can't have 3 of the same player. We've seen big 3s have been successful, a la the Heatles. They were not 3 of the same player. Even if you want to say a big 3 in Golden State, they were not 3 of the same player, right? Even though the Splash Brothers are both do the same thing, they don't do it the same way. So I'm not really sure what the Suns are doing. I do give them some credit for getting off of Kevin Durant and helping to bring their salary cap down. But at this point, and I don't know why Devin Booker resigned. If I was Devin Booker, I'd get up out of there, bro. I don't know what they're doing, and they're not going anywhere. They'll be back in the lottery real soon.
Yeah, well, I kind of disagree a little.
They don't have no draft picks. They won't even be in the lottery. They'll just be at the bottom sitting there chilling.
Yeah, I kind of disagree a little bit, because they did get a center. They traded for Mark Williams, so they got him. He's a 15-10 guy.
Bro, the man couldn't pass a physical. He couldn't pass physical.
That's all right, but he still played. He's still on the court. He isn't injury prone, but here's the thing. He
got back problems. That's not good.
Yeah, I got you, but he has injury problems, but he played. and they drafted a center out of the draft as as like an insurance policy. So so we'll see how that goes. And honestly, I think getting rid of Kevin Durant was actually addition by subtraction. I mean, they picked up. I mean, Jalen Green's not a bad player. Jalen Green, of course, shouldn't be your number one option or anything like.
If he stays,
yeah. I mean, he has no choice but to stay unless they decide to trade him.
They might flip him, but they hadn't made that decision.
They could flip him, but right now they have him. And Jalen Green is actually not a bad player. Dylan Brooks helps sew up your defense, and he's real good in the locker room. He's gonna rally everybody around him. You still got Devin Booker. I think they're probably gonna find a way to get rid of Bradley Beal. I know they can't trade him because of the no trade clause, but they might do a Damian Lillard with him. They might try to do that. So I'm not sure. But right now they still have Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal, I think, can still play. It's just you have him on the team trying to be a third option behind Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It's not going to happen. That's not his game. So I think we'll see this year what he can do.
Well, that's the thing too. This is why I said you're collecting a bunch of shooting guards. I mean, let's be honest. Devin Booker plays point guard, but he's a shooting guard. Yeah. Bradley Beal's a shooting guard. He's too small to play three. He's not a point guard. Jalen Green is a traditional shooting guard. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you got three of them. Dylan Brooks, what is he? He's a 2-3. He's not a point guard. You keep collecting these same players. You got to fill out the roster with other positions.
Yeah, and
you
that's
can't play 5 shooting guards.
Yeah, but that's what's going to hurt them. That's what's going to hurt them because their projected starting lineup is Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Bradley Beal, Dylan Brooks, and Mark Williams.
Come on, man. Cut it out, yo. You got 3 guys that want to shoot. 3 of them guys want to shoot the ball. You got one guy with a back that you don't know if he's going to be on the court or not. He kind of remind you. Remember Robert Williams that played for the Celtics? He was a nasty rim runner but it was always when he was healthy, and he was always hurt.
Yeah,
even in Portland, he's hurt a lot.
No, I feel you. But here's why I don't think everything is bad, because they have assets that they can package now. They can package Jalen Green if they want to. They can package Dylan Brooks if they want to. Hopefully they can't package him. Hopefully Mark Williams is not injured, but I mean, if he's not injured, he's a 15-10 guy. So I mean, that's good for a big man, for a center. So, we'll see what happens. I do think that they're not a playoff team right now. I don't think that they're a playoff team, but I think that they have some assets that they can use to really do some stuff. So we'll see.
We're talking about we'll see. We're going to end with my team. Yes. Our team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and for everybody outside the land, we do not call them Cavaliers in the land. We call them the Cavs, okay? So if you're a real fan, you call them the Cavs. But I love what they have done in the trade with Lonzo Ball. You got a guy, Isaac Okoro, up out of here who's shooting 29%. He done showed you through 3 playoff seasons he's completely unplayable. And this is my problem. This is why I never wanted to draft him. This is why I was totally against drafting him. And I wanted, I believe the same draft might have been either Halliburton or Porter. I don't remember right now. Anyway, I didn't want the guy, and I'm going to tell you why. When he came from Auburn, what was he known for? Defense only. He was a Tony Allen type player. And no disrespect, shout out to Tony Allen, one of the best to ever do it. That's a defensive guard. In this modern NBA, that does not work anymore. You got to be able to shoot. And if you can't shoot, you got to be able to slash. And he can't do either. He's not a slasher. He can't get to the bucket and create his own shot.
I agree.
He's just an athletic defender. And he's 6'5". That ain't going to work. He's already undersized to be playing 3 and 4. So, I feel like we robbed him without a handgun and ski mask getting Lonzo Ball. I get it. Big Baller Brand does have an injury history. He come off a serious knee injury. But if he's healthy, I'm getting a guy that's going to give me at least 7 assists in a game, maybe 10 on a regular basis, that wants to pass the ball, that knows how to play with a rim running center, knows how to play with a player like Evan Mobley, plays defense and can shoot the 3. It's a win. Yeah. I mean, a lot of Cavs fans are upset that we got Ty Jerome up out of here. He's over in, with Memphis playing with Ja Morant, but I think it's a win. Ty Jerome showed you in the playoffs the moment was too bright for him. This guy got benched at the end of the playoffs because he couldn't get anything done. He was completely ineffective. His confidence was shot. He did not want the ball, and he played, basically scared. So I think it was a huge win to get him up out of there. And then you keep the rest of your core intact. If you're healthy, here's the thing too. Halliburton, major injury. The Pacers are out. We talked about them already. Celtics, major injury. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, JT is out. The Bucks, major injury. Although he's been amnestied, they're a mess. You right there. We already said the Hawks are there, but the Hawks got to figure it out. You already done played together for, what, 3 seasons now?
Yeah.
This might be your opportunity. This is your opportunity right now because you were a 65-win team, a 65-game win team. This is your opportunity right now, and you had the easiest road you're going to have. All you got to do is beat the Knicks.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think Cleveland, if they stay healthy, because I think even if they were healthy, they wouldn't have lost when they lost in the playoffs this past season. If Cleveland, if the Cavs stay healthy, I think right now they go to the finals over any other team in the Eastern Conference right now because of the injuries and stuff like that. So I do think this trade of Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball, I do think it's a great trade for the Cleveland Cavaliers, even though Lonzo Ball is a health risk. But we saw in the playoffs, Okoro, he's a liability in the playoffs. He's a liability from the outside. You know, teams won't guard him. They'll just leave him open. Yeah, they'll just leave him open. His defense, you know, like you said, no. But like you said, he came in as a defensive player, and his defense is not even all that great. Lonzo Ball is a real good defensive player, and he can knock down the three. You're not going to just leave him open. And he can help your offense. He can distribute the ball. He can do all the things he needs to do. So I think it's a great trade.
Yeah, I disagree. I think he's a really good defender. My issue is that's all he does. That's not going to work, especially in the playoffs. Because here's the thing. If I can put you on Tyrese Halliburton, you can slow him down. Sure, you ain't going to stop him. But let's say you slow him down. Or let's just say it's Jaylen Brown and you slow him down. That's great. But the problem is you can't bring the ball up the floor, so you can't help me there. You can't slash and get your own bucket, so you have no help there. And then we pass you the ball in the corner, they're going to leave you open because you're going to break it. You're going to hit the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
So you ain't bringing me nothing.
Yeah. So what I mean by him not being a good defender is his defense doesn't make up for his offensive liability.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, so he's not like a lockdown defender. He plays good defense, but he's not such a lockdown defender to the point where it makes up for his offensive inability.
Exactly.
You know, Lonzo Ball plays both ends of the floor. He plays defense and he's a good shooter. He's a real good 3-point shooter, you know, better than what he was when he was with the Lakers. He fixed his shot. He's there now.
You know what fixed that shot? He quit wearing them baller brand shoes. That's why his shot got better.
He's just not throwing it from the side anymore, you know.
Hey, and shout out to your favorite guy, LeVar Ball. He said the Cavs are going to win the championship. That's what LeVar Ball said. That's your man. That's your guy. That's your boy.
Yeah. Shout out to LeVar Ball, man. You should come on the show, LeVar Ball, man. I supported you the whole time from the beginning.
He did.
Man.
He did.
Yeah, I'm all in support of him. Yeah, I never turn my back on LeVar Ball. Me and KP and the rest of the guys, the rest of the fellas, we don't have all kind of arguments around LeVar Ball and his boys and all this stuff. I'm with you, LeVar Ball. Come on the show. I want to talk to you, man. And we're going to have a good conversation.
Well, shoot, saying it like that, we want to hear from y'all. What do y'all think? Who do y'all have being who won in NFL free agency and offseason? Who lost? We want to hear from y'all. It's real simple. Who's going to go to the championship next year? We'll catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.